Hey, welcome back. We are so glad that you're joining us for our weekly Connection Cafe. Not only are we still missing all of you, but I'm missing the cookies. Are you? And Hornadito Corner and so forth. I'm really missing all of you, but we're glad you're with us here for Connection Cafe. We'd love to hear from you and your hellos and your expressions of whatever you would like to share with us, but we're really pleased today to have Commissioner Eileen Higgins with us, not only a member of this church, but such an outstanding elected leader in our community. And we invite you to ask her questions or to reflect with her on anything you might have heard in her morning message or anything that's on your mind. But let me begin with my colleagues and let them fill you in on what's been happening over the past week for them or where they're headed this week. So, Pastor Megan.
Good morning, everyone. We were talking in our Acts class this morning at 9 o'clock about the power of the Holy Spirit and how that Spirit was working through those early followers of Jesus. And I have to say it was not working with Zoom this morning. We had challenges after challenges with Zoom, and they seem to have some glitch in an update. So that's kind of where we were. Elena came running. We were trying all kinds of things, but it was an interesting morning. Got to see some kids, got to hear people and not see them, and so that's where we were this morning. But we will have it all figured out because I know Zoom will correct their issue by Tuesday when we have Lunch in the Bible. So on Tuesday, if you'd like to join us at noon for Lunch in the Bible, just shoot me an email if you don't have the Zoom link, and I hope to see you there. Thanks.
Great, thank you. Pastor Aaron.
Yes. Well, good morning, everyone. Glad to be with you. This Thursday, we had a great conversation with some members of the congregation about the social justice implications of the COVID crisis and how we can respond locally. So thank you to all of you who were on that call. It was a great conversation. And I want to offer up that one of our Board of Justice and Witness members is volunteering to do some shopping for the Dream Defenders and some of the work that they're doing around helping the homeless at this time. If you were on the call, you heard that. So if you're interested in helping in any way with that work, mainly around the work with the homeless population in Overtown during this time, just let me know and I'll connect you with them, and you can hopefully help in any way that you can. I think right now what they really would need is supplies. Yeah, thank you for being with us on the call. It was a great conversation, and yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I just want to say it was so good to see so many of you who are part of our Sisters on Sojourn group yesterday. We were really lucky that the Spirit was with us because we had gobs and gobs of women, and I was prepared for all kinds of things to go awry, but everything went very well, and it was so nice to catch up with so many of you, and we do look forward to doing that again. I also just want to thank all of you for your wonderful comments about our early morning gathering times, our devotions each day. We're so glad that you join us, and I look forward to having you join us this next week and perhaps the week after that, and after that. We'll just see where this takes us. As I mentioned in our morning announcements, that things I know are opening up around this community and around the nation, but public worship has its own particular challenges and safety concerns. And as always, your health and your wellness are utmost in our care and our concern. And so we are going to go about this very cautiously and carefully, prayerfully and faithfully. And so we are not yet ready to open up, but we will keep you in the loop and connected and let you know when we are ready to do something public and all the precautions that we will have in place for you to be safe and sound. With that, I'm just going to ask, is there anything else you want to add? Sometimes after my morning messages, I wish I had said that, or I wish I hadn't said that more times. But is there anything else you want to add before we?
I guess I talked a lot about government. I didn't really talk about how we personally are interacting, and it's so interesting, right? Being in this social distance, how different people are responding differently. And I will tell you, I don't feel lonely at all. I feel overly busy, I guess, and so it has been a unique personal experience to take the time and the opportunity to reconnect very deeply with people that I sometimes only call once every 6 months because I run out of time. And it's interesting now that we are spending more time at home. I am using that time better than the time I used to spend at home because I'm using it more purposefully to connect with people. It's not that people didn't matter before, but they, to me, matter a lot more now. And so there's a few little silver linings from this coming out.
Indeed, thank you. Well, as always, we have Elena Corrales, our fabulous Director of Communications, on the microphone over there reading your greetings and messages. So I'll turn it over to you.
Hi, everyone. So first we have Marilyn says, thank you for your informative sermon, Eileen. So good to see you. And also, nice haircut, Aaron.
Thank you.
You got a few of those
I
in the
just took
comments.
it all off.
If you had just waited.
Let's see, we have from Karen Connolly, thank you for a wonderful worship service today, including the pastors, the music ministry, and Commissioner Higgins. I miss you all.
Hey, Karen.
Hey, Karen, thank you.
Petra Davies says, good morning all. How I miss my happy place and my church family.
Oh. Hey, Petra. Hey, Mal.
Nicholas Osterman says, good message this morning, Commissioner. I am thankful for all the brief updates on the BCC meetings. Please don't forget about the Better Bus Project and relive for our citizens, especially the gig workers.
I promise not to forget. As a matter of fact, I had a conversation with Az, who is the director of Transit Alliance Miami, and also with Doug Hanks, the reporter for the Miami Herald, about the Better Bus Project. So for those of you that don't know, the idea behind this is the county, we run the big buses, but the city of Miami has its trolleys, and Miami Beach has its trolleys, and Coral Gable has its trolleys, and fundamentally we have a lot of vehicles roaming around in a public transit system, but they're not coordinated. And so if we could redesign the bus network and the trolley network to act as one, we could actually provide an incredible improvement in the frequency of service by acting as one unit rather than as acting as multiple. I mean, Doral has their own, fundamentally we probably have 10 systems of road-based. So we had literally just redesigned the system to be cost neutral. And we're in the process of getting the municipalities to approve the redesigned network. And so Az and I were talking about what does this new normal mean for us? Because our essential workers are on transit. They are riding transit now, and I have been riding transit through this, and thankfully everybody's wearing a mask. But our municipal budgets are based on taxes, and I don't know about the rest of you, but I've not been out spending a lot of money, on sales tax because I haven't been buying a lot of things, and so those trolley systems might be not have the kind of funding we would have expected, and as a result, the Better Bus Project is probably more needed now than it ever did. So we do have to push for this, and sadly, as our tourism economy is going to be very slow to recover. It's going to be the slowest thing to recover. And so we are going to have people that are going to have to make choices, And they, of course, are not going to choose to leave their apartment. They are going to be choosing to give up vehicles, and transit's going to become more important to people rather than less important as we work to make it more efficient. So I've got you on the Better Bus project. Hopefully the municipalities agree.
We have a message from John Carson who says, "Good morning to all. I miss seeing you in person and the physical hugs."
Hey, John. Right back at you.
Margot Bradley says, "Hi, Pastors Lori, Megan, and Aaron, and a special thank you to Eileen Higgins. You are doing a wonderful job, and I wish I was in your district. Where can I get more information about the mini business loans?"
We will have that item prepared, and it will go to the commission, hopefully for a vote on June 2nd. So we still have a lot of legalities to work out. So you can reach out to our office. I'll just give you the email address. It's District 5, that's the number 5, at miamidade.gov, and that's for anyone who's interested in or has questions about anything that they may need. Just drop us an email. We'll be happy to help.
Thanks, Margot.
Margie Bertoni says hello, and Aldo Brito also says good morning to everyone.
Margie, now.
Paul Hunt says, "Thanks, Eileen, as always, for your tremendous leadership. Be reminded that the Acción USA micro-lending program, $24 million in the first 15 years, was given birth at Coral Gables Congregational UCC in 2003 and is still going strong here."
Acción is awesome, Paul, and they're going to be part of the solution you see on June 2nd. So thanks for getting it started.
And thanks for that reminder, Paul. That is really so important to our legacy and history here.
John Carson asks you, Pastor Lori, how's your mother doing?
Oh, thanks, John. She's doing well. She's 91, and if need be, she can take care of all of us because she's doing, I think, better and stronger than many of us. So, but thanks, John.
Tony Macon says, "Great morning. Thanks to you all and Commissioner to keep us inspired and hope-filled."
Hey, Tony. Hey, Gary.
Unfortunately, I had a couple of chats. I think one was from Noel Cleland and the Platzes maybe on the website. They seem to have disappeared. If you could send them again to me so I can ask them. Sorry, they seem to have disappeared. On Facebook, we have Judy Habercorn says, "Happy birthday to Ingrid Hunter."
Oh.
And we love our pastors.
Happy birthday to you.
Where's our choir when we need
She
it?
may not want that. Rising. Happy birthday, Ingrid,
Hey, Ingrid.
indeed.
John Carson says, "Commissioner Eileen, how do you safely interact with employees or others who are known to have the coronavirus?"
So our office set up very quickly. I think, I have got my team member here, Nancy, socially distanced way on the other side of the church. I would say it was probably mid to late February, I began to realize that we were going to be moving to virtually. We didn't know when it was going to be hitting Miami, and so I started to tell people, start taking your laptops home, because I don't know exactly what day I'm going to say you can't come back. And so we actually started taking our laptops home and set ourselves up on Zoom probably 3 weeks before the mayor even called for the shutdown. And so that preparation worked out great because we didn't miss a beat. Like the day the shutdown went into place, we were all set up at home and able to work, and we had already worked out a system of how we were going to answer the phones. And so I just have a great team. And some of them were super tech savvy, and others, we're a bell-shaped curve, just like the rest of society. But I can tell you, everybody stepped up to the task. So we've been able to be very safe. We're essential employees, so it's not like I can stay home all the time, right? And so we've been very careful about masks and gloves and social distancing, and we're doing, quite frankly, most of our meetings outside. So we're meeting, when we're meeting with residents, obviously we're doing a lot of food distributions, and those have very strict procedures about gloves and masks. But even the work it's, you know, a lot of our work is neighborhood work, and so we can be outside in the neighborhood, and that gives you the ability to be distant. In our office, we just have a rule: if somebody's going to go in, they need to let everybody else know so that the rest of us don't go. And so I don't know how we're going to adapt. We're pretty, I mean, actually, there's a chance, don't tell anyone, we might be more efficient this way. We're pretty efficient, but it's not the same, right? It doesn't make any difference. Like, it's still like, I just really want a vaccine so we can be in each other's company, because working, sometimes it's stressful. Working's really enjoyable when you work with people you enjoy working with, and we do, and it's hard. We have to be safe. We have a safe process, but gosh, I'm looking forward to the time when we can be in the company of ourselves, in our own office, with our coffee pot, blah, 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 you know, like, yeah, I'm looking forward to the day.
Those sacred items.
Those secret, exactly, you know, where my little candy stash is, you know, all of those things.
Exactly.
We have another message from Debbie Perez. Says, thanks so much, Eileen, for your perseverance in the face of resistance to what is right.
You're welcome. Please, you guys too. You have to do the same. We're all in it together.
A message from Noel Cleland, who says, thanks to all of you for a wonderful service. A question for Eileen. The first federal stimulus package of $2.2 trillion, which divided by our U.S. population of 330 million, works out to over $6,000 for every person. Any thoughts on where that money went?
I probably don't have a full accounting for it. We certainly know a bunch of that money went to airports, which are not going to survive, obviously, and airlines, which are not going to survive without all of this. A lot of the airline money was contingent on the fact that they keep paying their employees. So we haven't seen large layoffs from the airlines because they actually receive the money to keep paying their employees. Some of the rest of the money actually is coming down to local government. So we are able, through the CARES money, for example, to provide the 311 meals. We believe that will get reimbursed. This revolving loan fund that I talked about, I'll be able to use some of the CARES money for that. So some of it is adaptable to local governments. But I think, Noel, you're right. It hasn't, in the way that the European governments just said, we're going to give money to the small businesses to keep paying their employees, no bureaucracy, no craziness, no applications. Ours has been a little more convoluted in trying to get that help to the right businesses and the right human beings.
We have a message from Robert Platts that says, what is being done at the state level to rectify the failure of the unemployment system and to expedite the federal relief of $1,200 promised months ago?
So those are kind of two separate questions. The state unemployment system, they had a terrible computer system. They've put a new one in place that crashes less and is beginning to work for folks. The problem is, if you applied in March in the old system, it ends up the newer applications are being processed. And the state made a very big mistake because they told people who were in the gig economy, if you're in the gig economy, if you're self-employed, right, you do not qualify for unemployment. And they forced them to apply and then made them unqualified, made them wait for weeks, if not, 6 weeks, almost 2 months, before telling them they're unqualified, and then forcing people to apply again for the $600 a week they are eligible for. So there are a lot of us that have been fighting vociferously, because Florida's unemployment system only kicks in the day you submit your application, not the day you lost your job. And Senator Rodriguez, Representative Durant, it goes down the list of people that are demanding that the governor make it retroactive to the day. He keeps saying he's going to do it, but I haven't seen an executive order, so it is still an absolute mess. on that. The $1,200 coming from the federal government has gone a lot better. If you got a refund on your taxes last year, they had your bank account, most folks got that several weeks ago. People that were on disability or Social Security, the process, if they were getting it on a debit card or in a direct deposit, that happened. The checks have gone out more slowly, but people are starting to get their checks. And so I think that's more of a matter of catch up. I don't think that process, unlike the state process, which is just a total mess, and we have no idea if it's fixed, this was a process. They told us it was going to take 6 to 8 weeks to get the manual checks out, and it has. So they appeared to have, it may not be as fast as we like, but at least it was a process. They understood, they knew what was going to happen, and it seems to be working.
Gisela Vega says, greetings to all and a big hug to Pastors Lori, Aaron, and Megan. And thank you, Commissioner, for a great message and insights this morning. Are there things that we can do in the community to address some of the issues that you've discussed?
Well, if you believe in something, let your elected officials know that that's what you want, including me, right, if I happen to be yours. So that's certainly something. Food insecurity is just going to continue until this unemployment thing gets fixed. And so Feeding South Florida, all of our, that is sort of Farm Share and Feeding South Florida are the places that are processing and getting food out to people. So if you financially can donate, that is a really, really good place to start.
Sarah Hoffman says that she's grateful to be able to connect every week the past few months, from no matter where we are in the world.
Hey, Sarah.
Danica says, thank you for a wonderful service from Danica in Springfield, Massachusetts. As my church is closed, it's a blessing to visit a family of a UCC church in Florida, a state that I have never been to.
How wonderful to have you. Thank you. Come visit us sometime.
Just not yet.
Not now. Or bring a mask.
Right.
Dennis Rodriguez says, for Commissioner Higgins, it's the early days still, but what are your expectations for public schools in the fall?
I don't know. I mean, I will not have any input nor say into that. So I presume the school superintendent will reserve the right to make that decision, and as we, maybe even as late as July or August. What we do know is different states and different countries are opening up very differently than we are. Like, we're choosing to open retail stores but keep schools closed. A couple of states have sent their kids back to school, and several European countries, because their school year goes so much longer into June. I know France opened schools, and so I do think as the summer goes along, we're going to have a lot more data about how that works and how do you make the physical changes to the classrooms and to the teachers, and is that possible for us in the fall? But I'm not expecting a decision anytime soon.
Pastor Lori, I think that's all on my end. Did you get any text messages or emails that you
Let me
want to
double
share?
check, because I am so enthralled here with what Commissioner Higgins is saying that I forgot to look.
Let me say one more thing. Danica responded, please keep me in prayers. My birthday is on this coming Wednesday.
Oh.
Happy
Birthday.
Happy birthday. Indeed. Well, friends, thank you so much for being part of us as I lose my microphone here, and for connecting with us through our Connection Cafe and worship. As we always say, do keep in touch with any of us as your pastors and your commissioner here, and we are so glad to help you and to be of any service. We hold you all in prayer. Have a wonderful week, and we hope to see you next week. Be well.